This mystery statue in front of me is a statue I think I've wanted to buy for about 10 years. I think it's been 10 years. And I've probably had it in my cart over 1,000 times. But there's so many reasons I didn't get it. We're going to talk about that when we review it today. But you're going to have to wait because no hints. You're probably wondering though, Mr. X, why are you all bundled up? Well, it's cold here on Hoth. Give it to you. Wait for you to get it on your own. XM Studios quarter scale Luke Skywalker is here. As I said in the intro, I've wanted this for I think 10 years or so. They've had it for a while, and it's always been a statue that wasn't sold widely. And I think for a lot of the same reasons I've always hesitated. So number one is I think Empire Strikes Back is the best of all the Star Wars movies, all 10, 11, 12 of them. And I think that when you think of Luke Skywalker, who in my opinion is the quintessential person or hero within the entire Star Wars series, you think of him as a Jedi Knight. This was not his Jedi Knight scene, although it was an amazing scene. I remember seeing Empire Strikes Back for the first time, and on Planet Hoth, when he took down the AT Walker or the ATST or whatever it's called, this is right after that scene. So it's great that XM Studios made this. Now keep in mind, this is an older piece for XM Studios. I'm not for sure on this, but I would speculate it's probably one of their first 10 pieces they ever released. And for some reason, it's always been available, not only through resale, but brand new like I bought it now. And the price seems to keep going cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And here in 2026, statue prices are, it's kind of a weird mix. Newer pieces are at an all-time high, but older pieces are at an all-time low. And you will not believe the steal I got this for, which is why I finally pulled the trigger, even though it's not my Luke Skywalker, but it's from an amazing scene. And for a statue that's probably damn near 10 years old, it's not that bad. It actually looks really, really good. And I'm going to show you why in the review today, starting with the concept. So as I said, while it's not Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, which is who I'd want in a quarter scale statue form. In fact, I did own one right here. Now this is from The Mandalorian. It was from Iron Studios, which was a really cool piece. But this is the Luke Skywalker I grew up with. On the planet Hoth, and his ship has crashed. If you remember that happened. He got shot down and he crashed, and there's the snow around it. There's the ship, parts of the ship. I love when they do an environmental base like this. It's part of the story. He's standing on top of it. And right here, I assume he already took down the ATST or the AT Walker. Just in my mind, he did. Maybe he didn't. He probably didn't actually because his helmet's on. So now all my dreams are being crushed. But depending on which display option you have a few things we're going to show you here. He's standing there looking up. Maybe he's looking for rescue. Maybe he's looking at the walker. Maybe he's figuring out what his next move is after the crash. But it was such an exciting scene. And I remember what was really exciting about this is in the first 30 minutes of Empire Strikes Back, not only did we have him against the Wampa, but then we had this crazy war scene, and we saw Darth Vader already. It was one of the best sequels, I think, ever because it just picked up right away. You know, interesting fact about the Wampa scene was actually written in, and here's a statue of a Wampa I used to own. I would love if I still own that and I could put these two next to each other. But between Episode 4 and Episode 5, Mark Hamill was in a car accident, and that's why his face was scarred. So they wrote the Wampa in to explain the scars, and it ended up being an awesome part of the Star Wars franchise. Anywho, concept is great. I give it a 5 out of 5. This is absolutely fantastic. Even though he's not a Jedi Knight, if you're going to pick another scene throughout all of Star Wars, I think this would be a great one to do. Design. You know, designs really haven't changed over the years. You know, not only the packaging, which you're going to see in the unboxing, but even different display options or magnets. This is designed really, really well. Quickly, here's the unboxing and assembly. You know, one thing XM hasn't changed over the years is their boxes. Their packaging a little bit. They used to have more fancy art boxes, and they all had manuals, assembly manuals, and it also told you a little bit about the statue, but they've stuck with the white foam and the black straps even to this day. It was one layer for Luke Skywalker. Here's all the pieces. All right, so four different display options. They all revolve around his right hand. If you want, you can have him holding a blaster. Now this is really important. With that, you can also do an empty holster. But if you decide the other display option, the blaster will be in the holster. So this is a magnetized piece you switch out. And then I believe this is the harpoon gun that he used to get up into the ATST and throw the grenade in its belly. I think both are great. I could definitely see me switching both. What would have been great, I think, is if they offered an unhelmeted portrait. But one of the nice things you're going to see during paint and sculpt, while the likeness is very good, it's not perfect. So that helmet kind of helps conceal those imperfections in the likeness of the face sculpt. But that's all you get. One thing you could do if you wanted to is actually remove these pieces right here. And it shows part of the inside of the ship. So I think that's kind of neat. And let's measure him quarter scale. I'm hoping he's going to fit where I want him to.
Hey, that's what she said.
So it's a little under 15 inches wide, which is what worries me, and 12 inches deep. And the tallest point is 21 inches. It may not work. I wish if it was the other way around, if the depth was where the width and backwards, then it would work. So if you want to see what he looks like in my collection with my other Star Wars stuff, check out my social media, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. But I got to give the design a 4 out of 5. The reason it's not 5 out of 5 is it's not incredibly elaborate, but I like what they did. Paint and sculpt. Again, not really bad for an old piece. Check out this video. Who's your daddy? All right, so the snow. I have definitely seen better snow, but this is not bad, especially for its time. I think that like adding some crystal effect would help. A lot of times that sheds off. But I like the layering of it. I like the texture of it. I think it did really nice. And then you see some of it splattered, you know, not only on the ship here, but even on the top of his uniform. Definitely acceptable, especially for the time. Same thing with his ship. You know, I like the fact that it's buried and you only see parts of it. But you see a few of the mechanical controls and the detail in that. But not over detail, but again, you're not looking too much at the bottom, and I like the gray color they used. It's a nice contrast. His uniform, I really like. You know, it's fully sculpted, but you see all the different folds in there. You see how kind of baggy his flight suit is. I think that's done really well, and then obviously he's wearing snow boots, and you see the straps around them. It's really a good contrast. I would have to go back and watch Empire Strikes Back, but they did a nice job. One thing that XM Studios was always really good at is pouches. Now, these are a little bit more rudimentary compared to some of the other statues I've seen from them, but it still looks good. The little rivets where it closes, probably you'd assume there's a flashlight there, maybe ammo. More pouches for his drugs or whatever. There's this holster that we were talking about. I like how there's a lot of wear on the gloves and the patch right here, simply for the fact that when you're flying a future spaceship, I'm sure there's a lot of exhaust and dirt that comes with that. And you can see that's kind of on the top part of his suit. So it almost tells a story where the bottom side's a little bit more clean. His Darth Vader-like controls on the front also look good. Tiny bit toyish, but nothing I can't get over. Again, I really like those folds. His helmet, you know, I have one of these replica helmets I bought for my father, who introduced me to Star Wars, you know, 50 years ago. And this looks really nice. Again, it's got kind of that darkened scoring on it. And let's look at his likeness. Like I said, while this isn't 100% spot on, it's damn close, and the visor helps mask some of it. He has the microphone right there and the chin strap. You can see a little bit of the hair behind that. Would have really liked an unmasked portrait so you could judge likeness, although I fear it would be off. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt when you're looking at this is Luke Skywalker. But I do think there's a little bit of likeness opportunity for sure. So for being a piece that, like I said, I think is damn near 10 years old, this is really, really impressive for its time. I'm going to give the paint a 4 out of 5. It's really well done. Like I said, my one critique is really the snow. But it's not bad. I think sculpt also falls on that. You know, I love how the suit flows, and we talked about that. I think it's a 4 out of 5 on the sculpt. Value. I'm not going to rank the value because I think the original retail price was at around $1,000 or so. And I don't remember exactly because I was a little drunk when I bought him. But they made 500 of these, which is crazy. There's still some left. And for the first time ever, I ordered from a company called Hexapus. I've heard good things about them, and I actually ordered a number of statues you're going to see on the review table. And I either got this for either 400 or 450, shipping included. Took about 50 days to get here. You know, one of the disclaimers they have is if it breaks, you're on your own. Thankfully, no breaks. And I trust XM Studios because, as you saw, they package their stuff really well. So I'm not going to rank it. I mean, $450 for an XM Studios quarter scale piece that's done really well. Wow, that is a good deal. I feel good about this purchase. I feel really good as long as I can get them to fit where I want them to. Does it have the X factor? 5 out of 5. No. It's a cool Luke Skywalker. I think it's going to go great. You know, my Star Wars collectibles, I used to have all of these different ones, like 40 different Star Wars statues. Now I think I'm down to 3 or 4, but I have all this autograph stuff and lightsaber collection. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff, and I think he's going to go really well with that. I think this is a 4 out of 5 statue overall. It's done really well. I'm shocked that it's always been available. I don't know why. I remember a long time ago I watched Gina's review, who in my opinion used to, if some of you know Gina, I've met her in Comic-Con before. She had the best reviews out there. I wish she didn't stop. But really, really well done, especially for the time. And it still holds up in my opinion. So 4 out of 5 on this guy, and super happy to have him. Now I need a huge favor from you. I always ask you to comment. Well, as you saw, the thumbnail and the title were a little blind. So I want you to comment, hey, nice blank, and put any character in the world that's not a Star Wars character. So if somebody just wants to read the comments to try and see who the mystery statue is, they won't have a clue. So pick your poison, throw that down in the comments below. Not only would it be hilarious, but you could win a statue. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Yes, we're still giving away $1,000 statues at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. You have to make sure you're subbed to the channel, you like the video, and then leave a comment. We're going to pick a random comment on a random video and give away those statues. In the meantime, check out some of these other videos and my social media. Talk to you soon. Take care.